Here's your news for April 7th, 2020. We're starting off with news from WWE as the company is in quite the predicament. Though they have tapings booked for April 10th at the Performance Center in Orlando, the state of Florida started a 30-day stay-at-home order last week, though Ringside News has reported that WWE has no intentions of pausing production. Now, WrestleVotes reports that this week's edition of SmackDown and next week's Raw will be aired live from the Performance Center, with last night's Raw and this week's NXT being pre-taped. Their report didn't mention whether WWE would be filming more than 1 week at a time, and it would certainly be in the company's best interest to film a lot of content in advance like AEW due to the constantly changing world landscape. With AEW filming content that should last until May or longer, the new promotion can take a breather for the time being, and it's a strategy that WWE should certainly look at. While WWE's future filming remains up in the air, this apparently isn't a problem for UFC, who will be going back to normal, at least according to Dana White. Speaking to TMZ on Monday, White said that come April 18th, the UFC is back in business after securing a 2-month venue and apparently a piece of international property. Though the UFC head declined to say where this venue is, it's been rumored to be on the US West Coast and possibly on Native American tribal land, and hopefully MMA fans will find out more later this month. We're heading back to WrestleMania 36 now, as after defeating AJ Styles in the critically acclaimed Boneyard match, The Undertaker has fueled speculation that fans have seen him dominate his years for the last time. Following his victory in the main event of the first night of WrestleMania, the dead man took to Instagram to post a picture of himself in his American Badass persona, writing, "It was a hell of a ride," with the hashtag 30 years. The hashtag is, of course, referring to the dead man's lengthy tenure that started in 1990, and several fans have taken it as the Phenom announcing his retirement. After 30 years in the WWE and several years in wrestling before that, it's safe to say that the dead man has earned his retirement, and the incredible Boneyard match would be a fitting high to end his career on. One man who was watching the Boneyard match with great interest was Ric Flair, who knows all about facing the dead man at WrestleMania, coming up short to the Phenom in 2002. During his appearance on the Wrestling Inc. Daily podcast, the two-time WWE Hall of Famer said that he texted the Phenom following Night 2 of WrestleMania. He said, "I texted Taker, you did it again. It's incredible. Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn, they create stuff better than Netflix, Amazon, or anything. Are you kidding me? Between that and the Funhouse, it was incredible. If I'm dying as an adult who's been watching this forever, can you imagine what a 12-year-old is thinking? They gotta be going, wow, Daddy, this is the coolest thing. I'm sitting here with Wendy, and she's become not only a big-time wrestling fan, but she's watched me so many times over the years that she's capable of calling what's good and bad, and she loved everything. They entertained everybody." The Nature Boy also revealed that he texted Stephanie McMahon, who kicked off both nights of WrestleMania. He said, "I texted Stephanie, only the McMahons could pull this off, and they did. Every demographic in the world of sports and entertainment got covered. It was tremendous. It was an excellent match with Charlotte and Rhea, and then you had all of the entertainment in the world with The Undertaker and then Bray Wyatt. It was incredible." Whether fans loved the show or hated it, WrestleMania 36 will be remembered for years to come, and it's clear that the 16-time world champion enjoyed what he saw. Like we've said, WrestleMania 36 was a unique event, and while there was no way to gauge fan reactions and attendance, there were reportedly plenty of people searching for the show of shows. WWE is now touting that according to Nielsen Social, this year's show generated 13.8 million social media interactions across Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This number is up 57% from last year's show, which puts Mania 36 as the most social media searched event in WrestleMania history. This result is interesting considering that before the show, fans weren't searching for WrestleMania as much as they previously had, but that obviously changed once the show got started. Despite how bizarre the show was across both nights, it's hard to argue with the numbers, as many members of the WWE Universe and more casual fans tune in to see what went down. One man who watched WrestleMania was former AEW World Champion Chris Jericho, who's never been shy when it comes to voicing his opinions on social media. On Twitter, Y2J said that he was really enjoying WrestleMania, but with the sound off, saying that without the commentary team, the show has a much better vibe, and encouraged others to try it out. Jericho is well aware of the benefits that come with promoting WWE and AEW to his fan base, and while it may be quite a long time until fans see him in WWE again, the former superstar is still more than ready to give his opinions on the opposition, and many fans are still wondering what kind of match he would have had against The Fiend if he'd faced Wyatt instead of Cena. We're sticking with WrestleMania now as Edge and Randy Orton fought in a 36-minute last man standing epic, but one spot in the match wasn't received all that well by some. During the bout, the pair fought in the Performance Center's gym, and Orton wrapped Edge's neck up in some weightlifting equipment in an attempt to hang him. This spot caused a lot of fans to think of Chris Benoit, who took his own life in a similar fashion, and during Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer commented on people who weren't too thrilled. He said, "I know some people who go, oh well, it didn't offend me. I know people in the company it offended. I know when I saw it, I couldn't not see Benoit. It's impossible unless you're brand new, I know. Here's the other thing too. It probably affects the talent more than the fans, because while you can say that some fans are new and some didn't see it, there's not one wrestler there who doesn't know the Chris Benoit story. Not one." Meltzer also noted that the spot had to go through a chain of approval and said it's very hard to believe that nobody made the call to cut the spot. While Benoit was once considered one of the best wrestlers ever, his final actions, where he murdered his wife and son before taking his own life, will forever taint his legacy, and perhaps Edge and Orton should have rethought that particular spot in their last man standing encounter. From one Mania match to another now, as this year's show also featured the Firefly Funhouse match, which nobody will forget anytime soon. According to Dave Meltzer, the three men responsible for this unique encounter were Wyatt, Cena, and Bruce Pritchard. As he said, "It was reported that the match was put together by Pritchard and Wyatt. John Cena also made suggestions and changed some things that they came up with. It's been reported that Cena's suggestions improved the overall segment, but it isn't specifically known what moments from the match came from Big Match John. The match was unlike anything else, as it saw Wyatt take Cena through different times and stages of his career, and there was even a puppet of Vince McMahon who described the match as, 'It's good shit.' This is a line that the boss has reportedly used in production meetings, and Meltzer commented on it, saying, 'When the segment was edited and Vince McMahon saw it, I'm told he loved it, and the 'It's good shit' line was approved by him when it was suggested.' The Funhouse match was certainly a unique encounter, and Wrestling News' Paul Davis has unearthed some backstage news from the match. As he said, "The Firefly Funhouse segment was produced by the WWE in Stamford, Connecticut, and the props used came from the warehouse near the company headquarters. I was told that while others had ideas, a lot of the creative input came from Wyatt. The Boneyard match was produced by the NXT crew in Orlando, Florida. Time will tell whether fans see another Funhouse match, but for now, Wyatt and Cena can rest easy knowing they created one of the strangest matches in wrestling history." We've got some more Wyatt news now, as though the former Universal Champion debuted The Fiend shortly before SummerSlam 2019, the company only now has the name locked down. Recent filings show that WWE filed a copyright for The Fiend on April 1st, and the term was registered for wrestling exhibitions and performances by a professional wrestler rendered live and through broadcast media, including television and via the internet or commercial online service. It's no secret that WWE likes to copyright everything they use on TV, but it's surprising that the WWE didn't lock down The Fiend last year, especially given how popular the character's become and how much merchandise has been produced. One superstar who also emerged victorious at WrestleMania 36 is Charlotte Flair, who captured the NXT Women's Championship from Rhea Ripley in a very solid opener for Night 2. After the Queen made Ripley tap to the figure 8, Dave Meltzer commented on Charlotte's situation, saying, "The plan right now is she's going to work both. With no house shows and no nothing, it's not like you're overtaxing someone for making them work twice a week." Ripley will certainly be looking for revenge, meaning there's likely to be a rematch down the line, and the former champion will be looking to make up for losing her title clean inside an empty performance center. From the NXT Women's title to the SmackDown Women's title now, as Bayley retained her gold at WrestleMania, but there was clearly some tension between her and Sasha Banks. Though the boss handed her best friend the gold after the bell, there was clearly friction between the two, and Dave Meltzer has said that WWE will redo the feud between the two, presumably closer to SummerSlam. Though the pair had something of a feud in 2017, The best matches between the pair took place during their NXT days, and it'll be interesting to see what the boss and the champion can bring to the table in these unprecedented times. We've got some news from WWE's commentary desk, as Michael Cole has served as an announcer in some capacity since 1997, and now has received a big and well-deserved promotion. PW Insider is reporting that Cole has been given the corporate title of Vice President of Announcing. As their report reads, Michael Cole has received a promotion within World Wrestling Entertainment and has gained a new corporate title, Vice President of Announcing, PW Insider has confirmed with multiple sources. The promotion officially took place several weeks ago, we're told. The former War correspondent certainly impressed fans with his solo commentary recently, and Cole, like at many points of his career, made the most out of a difficult situation. We'd like to send out our congrats to Michael Cole for his new corporate role, as he represents the company's announce team, just as long as we don't ever see him return to the ring as a wrestler. Back to WrestleMania now, and while many fans were happy with the overall show, one result many fans didn't see coming was Shayna Baszler failing to capture the Raw Women's Championship. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer explained the decision, saying that this feud is far from over. He said, "It was done to protect Shayna Baszler. The feud is not over. They may not be wrestling on the next pay-per-view, but the plan is definitely for Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch is not over." As of right now, WWE Money in the Bank is still scheduled for May 10th, and it'll be interesting to see if WWE books a rematch for the show. What's more interesting is the question of where WWE will host the show, as while the company planned on Baltimore, the city wasn't mentioned in the recent advertisement for the event, meaning WWE may need to figure out a new home for Money in the Bank. Two people who didn't exactly have the WrestleMania moment they hoped for were Bobby Lashley and Lana, as their relationship may be strained following the Ravishing Russian's request for a spear costing Lashley his match against Aleister Black. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer claimed that a split for the two should come as no surprise, as he said, "They were already having problems before the marriage. They were already doomed. It was not a wise relationship and storyline from the start. She is quite beautiful and quite the worst woman in the world that she'd ever want to be with. That's kinda her character, so there you go." Though her on-screen marriage may be over soon, Lana's real-life husband Rusev hasn't been seen on WWE TV in a while, as he reportedly hasn't signed a new contract with the company. Being pulled from TV after that, we'll have to wait and see what's next in this situation, but it looks like Lana and Lashley's union won't be lasting much longer. Now, we all know that Vince McMahon is quite a unique boss to work with, and one person who's worked with him for a while is Mark Henry. While speaking to Heavy, the former world champion told a story of the boss being able to literally stop traffic to make things easier, as he said, once again, Vince is undefeated, man. I remember 2012 or 13, we were wrestling at Madison Square Garden, and Vince had went around the wrong way to come into the building, and they stopped the traffic on 34th Street and let Vince turn around his Bentley around in the street and drive head-on into the traffic and turn the wrong way down another street to turn into the garden. I said, man, everybody can't do that. Henry went on to say that only presidents can get that kind of treatment, and this kind of treatment is just one of the perks for McMahon, who shows no signs of calming down or ending his tenure as WWE chairman anytime soon. And finally today we're ending with a huge return on Raw, as Nia Jax defeated Deonna Purrazzo with a unique maneuver. After returning from double knee surgery, fans quickly pointed out that Jax won with the Rampage, and the British superstar revealed on Twitter that she gave the move for Jax to use. Responding, Jax said it was an honor to use the move, and after squashing Purrazzo on Raw, surely she has her sights set on Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch.